Hello everybody! Today I have a review of an album, Immersion. The changes of rhythm, the progressive nature of the album was probably that which caught us in the grip when we were young. The hectic and tense pace slowing down into big strikes could be matched with the action of the games we played back then. This album really shaped us when we were young. In the album, the songs have some of the previous one and how they progress into the next one, adding layers of complexity, thin sounds upon the thick bass lines. About the half of the album's songs is instrumentals and the other half with lyrics. The album is well designed to be listened where you have friends around you, with you. It came out in 2010. There are relaxing parts where you can wonder about life and what it means. In this album there are visions and premonitions of how the next generation of human beings is going to be shaped by the technology and what they might be turned into. And here's what I thought about it, how I analyzed it, how I described it. The album is a major label release from Warner, so that might give you some clues about the agendas behind it. The way the vocals are simmerized to match with the tracks, other sounds, is done very professional way. It has this cycle of suspense and this release. The singer sounds like he would be liked by a lot of young people, right amount of rebellion, aggression, while still being very highly under control. And after you get this kind of a crush, like you would probably do when you drink a lot of energy drinks and that sort of stuff, it has been crafted to kind of match that crash. The songs bring to mind a sprint, where the start of a pistol is fired at certain intervals, and this cycle of suspension, release, action and relaxation makes the album into a very addictive experience. We replayed it over and over again many times. And after it, a bigger hit comes in with one of the songs. Nostalgia is built in. Here we find an album that was masterfully crafted to energize, and I would feel that most of the listener base that liked this album were young males. The immersion is not very emotional, but has a very definite cool factor. You could say that these sounds, they describe what addiction really is. For young minds like our, these types of soundscapes combined with all the other dopamine of the 2010 were a surefire gateway into a major depression due to sugar overdosing and long nights spent computerizing our brains. But it also has some emotion in it. It's not only this type of electronic music without any emotion, but I would feel, as I say in the review, that at the later part of the album the sensations of impatience start to creep in. Then it turns into a dark desperation. These later songs are there on purpose. It's the crash from the high ground, sound after sound that the album serves. It's the time for a bigger hit after the crash. At the end of the line we realize that this is how addiction works, and there's a reason for all the grind that we are doing while listening to these machinations by the big music business upon our minds. Most of the listeners that like this album, which I think is still a masterpiece and a very unique album, it really has its place in the music world. I think that most of the listeners were still young males because there wasn't this kind of like emotional dimension to the album. Even if it's hard to grow up with these sounds, you will surely make it into your first payday. And as a last note, in the album we get a fusion of industrial type of metal with the Pendulum's own style, heavy guitar riffs interlaced with an introduction into more drum and bass rhythmscape for all those kids that previously listened to metal. It's nostalgic. This album surely turned you over into a genre of electronic music and surefire way into a lifetime of endless web browsing, depression, and maybe in the end a way out into becoming a songwriter, a producer or other master of the performing arts. For some of you though, it might be a completely new one. You might have never heard about this if you are born on the better part of 2000s. That's why Pendulum's Immersion is still a masterpiece of music technology. It will probably never be comparable to any other album, so it stands in the music world as a unique testimony of how rhythms, timing can make the memories of your youth come back alive. Anytime we go back and listen to these sounds, we are still wondering where are all the friends now that we listen to this album with on those long LAN party nights. I sure hope you enjoyed it, because I sure did enjoy listening to this album. Time will tell if any one of them can create a masterpiece like this one to the next generation to come. I hope you enjoyed True Detective's review of this musical masterpiece called Pendulum Immersion. And I haven't listened to it for at least, I would say, like 6 years. It's still fucking great.